Hey, Big Cheese here. We got another backpacking cooking video here. We're gonna do some shepherd's pie. Shepherd's pie backpacking style. So I'm gonna start with my Vargo bot here, and I'm gonna fill it up about 2/3 full with water. So I'm gonna put some water in there. So about there's how full I'm gonna go. Got the stove on. I'm just doing this on my stove at home, but this would be really easy to do with a backpacking stove. Basically, you just start with the water and crank it on. So we got the water on. Now, we got the Harmony House dehydrated vegetable soup. Again, like our other videos, we're trying to go with stuff that's going to be less packaging and that we can bring on the trail, and we're going to have less packaging with it. So what I'm going to do is when we go camping and we go out, we're going to put some of this stuff in Ziploc bags. We're going to be able to reuse those bags, and we're going to get some reuse out of this. Now, the Harmony House vegetable soup, I find if you just put it in on the boil, it's going to be a problem. So I actually put it in kind of early and let it cook up as the water's heating. It's not going to stick to the bottom of this Vargo bot. As so many of you know, with these titanium pots, they're kind of thin, and if you actually kind of cook in them, it has a big tendency to burn. Now, I'm going to put a bunch of these in. I like my shepherd's pie kind of a little bit more veggie, so I'm going to put in probably about a third of a cup or so of this in there. So I'm going to put that in and just give it a bit of a mix in there as we're heating up. Now, this is not going to stick to the bottom. This stuff kind of floats as it heats up, but having it in there nice and early lets it kind of start rehydrating as we're going here. So we're going to let that go. Now, we've also got this Mountain House ground beef, cooked ground beef. Now, I bought the big tin, and what I didn't realize is that they recommend once you open it, that you should eat it all within a week. Now, I've had it in the fridge since I opened it for a couple weeks now, and I'm kind of trying to use it up a bit. You can get this in smaller packets. I got this because I wanted to just sort of cut down on the packaging again. You know, this is a tin can. It does have a plastic lid on it, but it's a tin can, so there's going to be a little bit less waste than getting smaller packages of it. So I also like to put this in fairly early. So I'm going to put, I don't know, this looks kind of disgusting, but trust me, it's actually pretty good. These are little chunks of cooked ground beef. Now, I like, I'm a big meat eater, so I'm going to put a fair bit in there. Whoops, you don't want to put that in there. There we go, maybe just a little bit more. Put that back in there to keep it as fresh as I can. Put the lid back on. Put that back over there. And again, give it a stir. Now, this is gonna seem like it's like pretty full here, and that's okay. We're gonna be okay because those mashed potatoes are gonna fill up and sort of suck up all that water, and we're gonna be just good there. So we got the Mountain House cooked ground beef. We got the Harmony House vegetable soup mix. Two other things here. I've got my homemade spice mix. Now, what I've got in here is some parsley flakes, fresh ground pepper, and garlic salt. And I mixed that up together ahead of time because as this has like basically no spice or anything in it. It comes out really bland if you don't add something. So to say, I pre-mixed this. I gotta take this out on the trail, and I'm gonna mix that in. So I'm gonna put that in right now. And I put a fair bit of this because I like it. I like it to be fairly tasty. There we go. That's probably a good heaping teaspoon of my spice mix there. And I'm going to just give that a little bit of a mix in, just to kind of get it in there, the flavor coming out. Okay, that water's starting to get hot, get warmed up. Now, the sort of magic ingredient to this, and I'm going to actually add this to my spice mix for the next trip, is nutmeg. So I've got whole nutmeg here, and that's what really makes shepherd's pie. Now, I recommend that you pre-do this ahead of time and you mix it in with your spice mix. I like a little bit of nutmeg and things, but I'm going to just do it fresh here. These are whole nutmegs. I got a little microplane. I got one here, and I'm going to put, whoa, I keep dropping things in there. I'm going to put a fair bit of this because I like nutmeg in my shepherd's pie. So I'm going to microplane some of that in there. So that's a fair bit, just kind of tap that in there. Put that out of the way. Put that back away. And again, just kind of continue to let this heat up. Give it a bit of a stir here. And I can see that those vegetables are starting to like hydrate up nicely, and the cooked ground beef is hydrating up nicely. Let that cook up, bring that up to a full boil, and then we're going to start adding the mashed potatoes. And that's where it gets, I'll say, a little bit kind of tricky, because you got to kind of mix it in and stir it in and that at the same time. It's kind of a little bit tricky. So we're heading out for a shakedown camp coming up this weekend, just Friday, Saturday with the kids to try out our stuff. And then big news is we're going to be doing the Trans-Catalina Trail over spring break. So looking forward to that. We're taking our time. We're not rushing it. We're doing 6 days. We've got it all booked. We're all ready to go. And we're going to be doing the Trans-Catalina Trail, which should be a lot of fun. I'm hoping to introduce the kids to a little bit longer backpacking trip than just a weekend, and hoping they enjoy it. So what we're going to add next, once this comes to boil, is the classic mashed potatoes. Now, we get the kind that has nothing added to it. It's just the mashed potatoes. We don't want any other stuff in there. So, we get it in the box here. And if we look at the ingredients, Idaho potatoes, and then there's some little bit of preservatives, but pretty much it's potatoes, which is great. Interesting, it's from Walnut Creek, California, but we like the kind that just doesn't have anything else added to it. Nice and simple, because then we can add what we want to it. Okay, just going to give this a bit of a stir, make sure that nothing's going on here. It's going nicely. Yeah, it's starting to get going here. And you just want to keep an eye on this because you don't want to boil it over, because that makes a mess. So once it just kind of gets close to the boil, then you want to turn things down, and then you're going to start stirring in the mashed potatoes. And I'm going to show you that. It's kind of tricky here. Again, those vegetables are starting to get nicely hydrated. The meat's starting to get hydrated, and we're getting real close to things being on the boil. Okay, there we go. We've got boiling. I'm going to turn the stove like way down here and start adding the potatoes. Now, these things are kind of flaky, and I add kind of like a couple tablespoons, and then I kind of like poke it down in there. The idea is you want to kind of get it down in there and make sure that you're kind of absorbing up all the water there. A little bit more. Whoa, that's good. And I just kind of poke that in there. And yeah, you can't help but spill these because they're like really light and flaky. And you keep going until it's kind of the right consistency. So a couple more tablespoons, and kind of poke that in. A bunch more. Stir that in. Okay, we're starting to thicken up. Okay, but we can still go a little ways, a little more. That's probably. Yeah, I think that's good. Yeah, I put the lid on and leave it for a while just to kind of make sure everything completely rehydrates. So I'm gonna leave that for about 10 minutes to fully rehydrate. Okay, back here. We've been letting this sit for the last 10 minutes or so, and with the lid on, and we'll just see it. Looks good. Looks good. Just put that down. I'm gonna just turn the stove off here, and I'm gonna just, yeah, that's a nice consistency. It came out nice. So there you go. Backpacker's shepherd's pie. Let's get my head in here and try some of this. That's good. Yeah, just the right amount of spice. You have to spice it fairly well, and the nutmeg is nice in there. The vegetables are nicely rehydrated now. So, great dish to make. Got the large containers, so it's not much waste. Say pack these in a double Ziploc bag. They can make a mess. Little small Ziploc bags. You can reuse the Ziploc bags. You're saving instead of all the little packets. This is as good as any of those backpacker meals, definitely. And if you want, you could spice it up. Lots of things you could do with this. You want to put some olive oil in there if you wanted, or a little bit of spice packet or something. Anything like that would go really well with this. This is a nice base for that. So, big cheese for Big Cheese Adventures with Backpacker's Shepherd's Pie.